Good morning, Volendam. How's everyone? Hey, Katie in the back there. Good to see everyone today. Well, we've calmed down considerably. I think it's still got some rocking and some rolling, but I think this is a little more doable for me anyway. I tell you what, though, I took some sea calm.
You did?
Last night, and I forgot. They really should call it sea and balm because, man, oh man, I was like, I still feel. I mean, I feel okay, but man, I was a zombie. I went out, but I needed to sleep because the night before I didn't sleep at all.
Do you all take pills for sleep? Yeah.
Yeah. But it was, man. I forgot that stuff. I was just like. Right. It was tough. Anyway, good morning, good morning, good morning. Of course, my guest this morning is Mr. Mark Newsome. Please welcome Mark Newsome to the stage. Back to the stage, I should say. It's been a while. That was actually this cruise.
It was. It's hard to think of that. I thought of that this morning when I got up and I went, what do I do again? Yeah, it was over a week ago.
That was over a week ago.
Yeah.
But a great show.
Thank you.
As always. And actually, you'll be back tomorrow night on stage.
Sea's willing. Good
yes.
Sea's willing, yes.
Sea's willing and the creek don't rise.
That's right. Yeah. No moving pianos.
Yes. So from Wales, we learned, not W-H-A-L-E-S, although it did lead to some good jokes, I thought.
Yes. The breaching thing was interesting.
I liked that.
Yeah. And, you know, I have a question for you. Do you know if Wales, if they could listen to music, you know what they'd listen to?
What?
An iPod.
That's funny. Yeah. But now, did you grow up in Wales?
I did. I was born in a place outside of Swansea, which is the second biggest city, called Carmarthen, and it's in West Wales, very big agricultural town, farming area. And my parents kept a pub and a restaurant there. And I grew up just in this small town of 48,000 people.
That's not tiny, though.
Well, it's not. But it was. I mean, it was really spread out over a long. The town was quite small, and then I mean, there's a lot of pasture land and cow and sheep farming. A lot of sheep in Wales. Yeah.
This is totally, but you just said your folks ran a pub. Welsh pub food, what does that consist of?
Bad food, warm beer, basically. That's any pub you go to in Britain, bad food, warm beer. Welsh pub, well, my dad was kind of, he thought he was an innovator. He was one of the first people ever to have a microwave in Wales. And also one of the first people ever to put a baked potato while still in the tin foil in the microwave in Wales. Also, the first person in Wales to circumnavigate 200 feet above the pub that he lived in Wales due to the microwave exploding. And they used to do things like baked potatoes and pies, meat pies, and they have this thing called a pasty. Has anybody heard of that?
Yeah, for Cornish.
It's like a Cornish pasty.
Cornwall.
So they have different variations of it, and these would be flat because the Welsh couldn't be bothered to put all the right dough in. They'd make it flat, but it's quite tasty with like ground beef and bits of potato and onion, and leeks. Leeks are very popular in Wales. They're the national emblem of Wales, and the daffodil is a national flower, and so that was basically it, and then, you know, potato chips, but it was mainly beer. Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course.
It was a good drinking pub. There were 152 pubs in this town.
Wow.
And in the town, there was actually only 13,000 people that lived in the town, but there were 152 pubs. Go figure. Yeah. We like our beer back in Wales.
So when did you ultimately leave Wales, and where was the first place you went after that?
The first place I went to was London, and then I went abroad to Spain to live when I was 16. Went to Tenerife and Malaga and all those places. Toured for this company down there for about 8 months.
Now, were you performing at that point?
Yeah.
Singing, playing piano, or?
I didn't start to play piano till I was 26. So 2 years ago, and And I started out when I was 8 years old playing the electric organ. My parents had they had a wedding anniversary, and they decided that they had this small electric organ upstairs in the flat, and they would bring it down so someone play it and have music. Because my mother was quite a well-known opera singer in her day, and they decided to bring the organ down. And they discovered that where there was music.
Spoke too soon.
Yeah. That was the ghost of Shamu hitting the side of the ship. Where there was music, that people would come in more and drink more, and they had this guy get up and play it. So it was just the music was there, and I guess I was upstairs in bed listening to it day and night for weeks on end. And then just one morning I walked downstairs and started to just literally stepped onto it before going to school and started to play. And that was when I was just under 8 years old. And then I did my first TV when I was nearly 9. So,
as a singer?
Playing first, and then I sang, because my mother said, you know, I'm a singer, so have you tried it? And I went, yeah, at 9 years old, I've tried everything. So I put my beer down, and I said, hey, yeah, I can do this. And then I started to do that, and then I got more and more TV, and because I was so young, I was sort of then picked up by national TV and was kind of a child.
What would you sing
prodigy.
back there when you were 9?
I used to sing things like Do a Deer, Do Re Mi, Fa Sol La Ti Do. That was one of the early songs. And they would make me sing the most inappropriate songs. There was this song by Engelbert Humperdinck, which backwards spelled Gertelbert Crumpledick. Too early? Okay. There was a song called There Goes My Only Possession. Do you remember that? There goes my only possession. A 9-year-old kid singing about the love that he's lost. And then they thought another good song would be, oh, why don't you sing My Way? Oh, that's a good one. So when I was 10 years old, I was singing I've loved, I've laughed, I've cried, I've had it all, my share of sadness. 10 years old. Pathetic.
A rough life.
A rough life at 10. But it's rough growing up in Wales, you know. It's not an easy place to grow up. But yeah, so they were some of the things I sang. And then I had this song, which we stole, called Mother of Mine, which became sort of I recorded it in Welsh. You don't want to hear it. Trust me, you don't want to hear it, because I can't remember it. That sort of became a regional hit.
We should have had that on Mother's Day. How'd you do that?
Yes, they still play it in Wales on Mother's Day.
Wow.
Yeah, still gets a lot of airplay.
Do you get any residuals?
Get a little residual brown
nice.
check under the door, as they used to say, once in a while from it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, where do you call home these days? Other than the Vodm, yes.
Right here. I live in San Diego most of the year.
Oh, that's right, home of Shamu.
That's right, yeah, right down from SeaWorld. I also have a place in Spain.
Very nice. Castle in Spain.
A castle yeah. Not exactly a castle, but...
now, in your... I talked about it when I introed you, that you performed for Prince Charles, Lady Diana, 6 times, I believe, something. How did that come about, and how does one do that 6 times? And did you... all the stories that go with that, I want to hear.
Prince Charles thing started when I was 9 years old, doing one of my very first TV shows. It was the year that he was made Prince of Wales. Before he was invested, Prince Charles got invested in a castle in the top of Wales. This is just trivia, or just trivial, called Carnarvon. And I lived in South Wales in a place called Carmarthen. Well, the year that Prince Charles, I got to tell you the story about my dad. It's hysterical. The year that Prince Charles got made the Prince of Wales officially, all these English people, and you know the Welsh, they just love the English people, they would come down into the pub, and they would come in and they'd say, hey, so where is the castle? And my father would go, you know, these people would mean the castle where Prince Charles got made Prince of Wales. And my father would go, oh, it's just, you just go down there, it's like half a mile over there. Because we had a big castle also in Carmarthen. And you go down there, and he'd say, oh, you know, well, having a drink, and these people would drink, and they'd go out, they'd come back to the pub 2 hours later, and they say, that's not the castle where Prince Charles was. He said, no, that one's 200 miles north of here, but you asked me where the castle was. We have one here, and it made you come back to the pub. So my dad thought that was really a good business plan to fool people. Anyway, so yeah, he was touring the television studio, and I happened to be filming a show that day, and I was a little, you know, tiny kid, and I had 2 good suits. One more than I have now. A grey suit with short grey pants and a white, it was always a white nylon shirt. And I remember it being nylon. It was so sweaty. God, I was very hairy, even at 9. It was very sweaty. And a little bow tie. And, of course, they made a big fuss of me. And I had the misfortune, that was the first time, and I had the misfortune of having a photograph taken while Prince Charles was having lunch in the sort of VIP lounge. We were invited in to have lunch, and I had a picture taken basically sitting on his knee, which I've sort of lived down for many, many years now. And in fact, Camilla called me the other day and said, how dare you sit on his knee when you were so young. And that was the first time. And then there's this thing called the Night of 101 Welsh Stars. It's on March the 1st every year, or around about there. March the 1st is National Welsh Day, St. David's Day. It's like St. Patrick's Day, but with no green beer, just lots of it. And the Welsh celebrate it, and there was this annual concert in Cardiff that they put on, this Night of 101 Welsh Stars. So it's always made me laugh. 101 Welsh Stars. I mean, seriously, there were, at the best, 23 of us ever. Tom Jones, Shirley Bassey, Anthony Hopkins, who wasn't even known then, you know. So we do this thing every year, and he would some years show up for that. And that's what happened with Princess Diana one year. And then the other 2 times, ironically, we're both at Television Centre again, S4C in Cardiff. I had my own show for a little while, and they were officially touring the studios together. And that was really fun because my dad was with me, and I got to introduce my dad to her. And he'd met him before, but my dad was like, oh, Princess Diana. Oh.
So was she like everybody said? Was she just incredibly lovely?
Amazing. She, I mean, it's stupid to say that you knew she was in the room, because all the royals and anybody with huge amount of stardom and celebrity, you get that feeling from them. But she had this, it was like she had this bubble, this aura that she walked around in. It was just so intense. It was just like a power. She was a power. There was an electricity that came with her. And you know, did you ever see when she did that look with her eyes, where she'd be talking to somebody, and she had this way of making everybody know that she was still looking at you, and although she could be talking, she'd do that once in a while.
Yeah, my mother had that look.
Did she? Yeah. She did that one time. I was in the receiving line, and she did that, and she didn't do it to me, but she did it down the line, and I was like, it was very intense. And then the last time I met her was again at Television Centre, where they shouldn't have even been there at the time that I was there, but it was running incredibly late. It was a horrible day, typical Welsh day, pouring down with rain, and everything was running late, and I was the only thing that was in production. And so they ended up coming around the studio again. Different set that time, different show, different set. And that was the last time I met her.
Wow. Now your show, what is that, like a variety show?
Yeah,
or?
It was a talk show, my own show. It was we do this, and then I'd have a guest on, and then I'd do something with a guest. And in fact, do you know Leo Ward? Anybody know Leo Ward, a magician that works on this line?
Yeah, I know Leo.
Leo was this is a great story. If you ever see Leo, go up and ask him this. Leo was actually a guest although he didn't speak Welsh, because he's English. He's one of them. He was a guest on my TV show. Once in a while, they'd bring in magicians and people, and because there is really, despite what they say, there really isn't that much talent in Wales. We'd have to bring in from outside, and we'd bring all these English people in that we just have them do stuff and not have them speak because they couldn't speak the Welsh language. And Leo was one of those people. He came down and he did his 3 minutes, you know, over there somewhere. I never interviewed him, but he was on the show. He was on my show. Isn't that bizarre?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
And then you had a couple presidents on the list.
Yes, yes.
Tell about those.
I've been lucky to go to the White House. You know. Do you know who Mark Russell is? Yeah. He was on CNN a lot back in CNN's early days, not on it now at all. I was lucky to go and perform with Mark in the same bill. I met Mark and Alison on Seabourn. Well, it's the same company.
Yeah,
now,
same company now.
On Seabourn, and we became good friends. And next thing, I got invited, so I went to the White House, and that was fun. President Carter, I sang at a baseball game to him, because I do national anthems for the Padres and all sorts of other major league teams for fun in the summer. And this one time, they asked me to go sing. They called me up early in the morning and said, you know, you're singing tonight. I went, yes, I know. And they said, yeah, you need to be down here at 10 o'clock. I'm like, well, the game's not till 7. And they said, no, you've got to get down here because President Carter's coming to the game. Atlanta are playing, and he's in town, so he's decided that, blah, blah, blah. So I got down there, and now because of Roseanne Barr, do you remember that rendition of the national anthem that Roseanne Barr sang? The one where she screwed
She screeched
up?
And, yeah.
And so since then in San Diego, 99% of the national anthems in San Diego now are taped. Very rarely will it be live. Occasionally, if it's a playoff game, it'll be live, but usually throughout the year, it's all taped. So I had to go out and lip sync to my own recording, which, you know, you can show up drunk and do that. I mean, because there's so much of a time delay in the stadium anyway that anybody you're standing close to, you can be mouthing the alphabet, and it's not going to be in sync with what's coming out of the speakers anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But so used to doing that, and they said, well, could you possibly sing along to it live while you're doing it? I said, well, that's probably more difficult than just asking me to lip sync to it. And I said, why do you want this? Well, President Carter is going to be standing, you know, practically in front of you. And so I was lip-syncing the national anthem to my own tape recording of it and singing along to the I was singing along to it, trying to keep up in time with all the speakers and everything going around and round and round. And in the meantime, President Carter is standing virtually 4 feet away from me, directly in front of me. And that was probably one of the more nerve-wracking things. And he has a wonderful sense of humor. After singing, you get to sit. That's one of the perks. You don't get paid for national anthems, but you get all sorts of perks. And if you're a baseball fan like me, it's great. And so I ended up sitting behind him for the game. And he was very intrigued as to why they couldn't find an American to sing the national anthem and why they had to import all those darn Brits. And he was giving me what we'd call in Britain stick, banter. He would turn around and he would say things out loud, in his very southern accent. He'd say things like, "Well, you'd think we'd have somebody that was born here that would be able to do that, wouldn't you?" And he'd say loud enough so I'd be sitting behind and I'd hear it, and then he'd turn around like that and look at me, and it was kind of fun. So he was. I have a lot of respect for that man. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
So any other memorable performances along your career?
My wedding night, that was really great. That was, except the mirrors on top of the bed, they broke. It steamed up.
On a ship, I guess.
Yeah, on a ship, yeah. I was in Les Miserables, played Marius.
Do tell.
I'll tell you all about it tomorrow night in the show. You have to come.
Oh, okay. That's right. To save some.
Yeah, save something back. Because I got nothing else tomorrow night. Nothing. Nothing. Oh, absolutely nothing. Oh gosh, I don't know. The more memorable things for me are things that aren't so obvious. Things that are memorable to me wouldn't seem like a big deal. Every year in my town, for like 5 years in a row, they'd have me go Christmas time and switch on the lights, because I was like the big town celebrity for a while, till they found somebody else. The dancing cow. That I got replaced one year by the dancing cow, so I thought that was good. Yeah, seriously. They knew it was going to happen one way or the other.
I got that one.
Thank you. Whew, tough crowd. So I'd get switch all the. I'd go and stand outside the town hall, had a balcony, and I'd play and sing up there. And then they'd let me throw the switch to put the lights on, which for me, when I was a kid, that was a huge deal, you know. Well, when I say kid, I still love to do it when I was 38. I mean, it was still great to put on and see the lights go on the tree. Stuff like that, that's memorable to me, that wouldn't necessarily be a huge thing otherwise. And I love my baseball. I'm a baseball nut. To me, one of the greatest gifts is to be able to go around these wonderful stadiums and honor America, and it's a job I take very seriously. The first time I did it was in New York for the New York Mets, and the owners of the Mets, Saul Katz and his wife, we'd met previously. Well, he's a half owner. He was in the news recently because they're having all sorts of problems there, so I probably shouldn't mention his name, but too late now. They had me go sing it, and I was terribly nervous. And my girlfriend at the time was a native New Yorker, and she was this towering 6-foot singer-dancer, much taller than me, all this long hair. And so I flew up from San Diego and went to the stadium, and I was so nervous. I had the words written on my hand. I had them put it down on the monitor in front of me, and I had my girlfriend, whose name was Francesca. She was actually in the little in the gap where you'd come out. I'd say dugout, but it wasn't in the dugout. But she was sort of there, also mouthing the words to me, just in case I messed up. And it was live. And about 20 minutes before we went live, there was like this whole kerfuffle up in the sky, one of the sky boxes that I was in, and ESPN were covering the game. And something happened that they decided to show the national anthem. So like 20 minutes before going on, I had to sign all these releases. And then it was, while I'm signing all this, I'm going, what's happening? And they're going, well, you're actually going to be network. So it was the first time I was network all over the US. So I had like 5 minutes to call everybody and anybody I knew to say, hey, I'm going to be on national TV in a minute, which actually took all of 20 seconds because I didn't know many people. And then I went down and I did it, and I was so scared. I mean, I'm telling you, frightened and nervous. When it was against the Phillies, and John Crook and Lenny Dykstra were playing at that time. And John Crook is, you know, he's a big mountain of a man. And the experience when the players, you know, take their caps off and respect a nation like that, and they're waiting for you to sing. You know, unless you get through the song, there ain't going to be no game till I finish the song. And that really, really hit me hard when I was in the middle of this to see it. And I was like, oh my God, that's Lenny Dykstra's taking his cat. He's waiting for me. And it was, I sing it as it's written. I don't do any of the
Christina Aguilera's.
None of that. I absolutely hate that. It was written note to note. Sing the song as it's supposed to be sung. Don't make it about yourself. It's not about you, the singer. It's about honoring the country. And I've always felt that way about it. And I sing it note for note, nothing flashy, because basically I can't. And I sang it and got through it. But it's really something when you're standing there in the stadium and these players, when you see these guys, these huge guys, take their caps off in respect. And of course, after 9/11, that took on a whole bigger meaning still. But every time I do it now, and I'll be doing it this summer for the Padres, to an audience of the Monday night game audience, which will be 28 people at Petco Park watching us play this year on a good Monday. And there's more people in my cabin right now than will be at Petco Park on a Monday night this summer. So come early, get your seats. It's a big draw. Yeah, it's always fun to do. It's a big deal.
So are the Padres your team, or what?
They are my team.
All right.
Through thick and thin. I love them. I'm getting kind of teed off with the Chargers because every year they get they're so annoying. Every year it's gonna be the year, and then they get to anywhere near a playoff and they stink it up like the week before. Except for last season, they were rubbish all year. They were consistently bad last season, which was a good thing, to be consistent at something.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
At least they were consistent.
Yeah. So, but I love my football. In fact, my hometown team today, Swansea, they're actually playing right now in a playoff game in the UK to see if they go up to the first division in soccer. So it's a very exciting day.
Yes.
Yeah, there's 23 people at that game. Yeah.
So how long on ships? Have you been working on ships, performing on ships?
First ship was the Marie Celeste, and after that, British reference, never mind, moving on. Titanic, no. 86 was the first cruise I did on the Saga Fjord. Anybody remember the Saga Fjord? The old Cunard. She's now the Saga Rose. Beautiful old ship, traditional ship with the lines and the funnel, and I started there. And discovered that it was fun, and it was much easier than working on land because I didn't have to drive to the gig, didn't have to, work with amateur musicians. Well, up until this week, and then and all sorts of things like that. And I thought and it's all year round. And at that time, there wasn't that many ships. There were, but cruising wasn't like it is now. And it just got bigger and bigger, and there's more and more ships. And I thought, well, okay, this seems a nice way to spend your life. And I'd pretty much done it. Well, my family in the UK, my dad was my last family member, passed away in '91. So I really didn't have a great deal of reason to stick around in the UK.
Yeah.
And
I've
been doing it for so long there too. Everything, the summer seasons, the pantomime at winter time, everything was just a repeat, and had been repeating for like 2 or 3 years. And I thought, well, I'd like to do something different. Then discovered this, and the travel and meeting nice people, and it's been that way ever since. Yeah, it's all I do now.
Well, we're glad to have you. Any questions, comments this morning for Mr. Mark? It's got to be one.
Are you awake? Oh, you are. Okay. Yes, sir.
So the question, just for our audience on television, is singing the national anthem, being a non-American, how did that even start out for you?
Well, the first time was because of the owners of the Mets. They'd been on a ship I was on, and Saul Katz's wife, she has a severe Les Mis fetish. She's a huge Les Mis fan. And he even paid for her like $100,000 one year to go in, and she actually went in and was a cast member for one night in
Part
New
of
York.
the barricade or something?
Yeah, and she's a huge Les Mis fan, and so we became friendly. And I had no idea that they even owned them, and this was way back before I even started to like baseball. It was in '93, and they invited me to do this, and that was the first time. And so just by really people that I was lucky enough to meet on ships,
And then you just got on the list, I guess.
Well, then by that time I'd actually decided to spend some time in San Diego, and some friends of mine there were connected with the theater there, and also provided when they had stars coming through to their theater, they would have them go and do the national anthem for PR and stuff like that. So they just sent me in one day, and they sort of liked what I did, and I was local, and I was cheap, and I loved baseball, and I didn't make a mess of it, and so it became a regular thing, and it's my goal, it's my ambition or a hobby to do I really want to sing in every stadium, every baseball stadium in the U.S. That's my ongoing target, just for fun.
I sang at Candlestick Park once.
You did?
Yeah. National anthem.
Yeah. For Niners?
Yeah.
49ers?
Yeah. It was with a cast of a show, but yeah, we all went in.
Was it live? You
yeah,
sang
it was
live?
very exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
It's an amazing thing when it comes down to that moment. It's your heart's going like that. I mean, even lip syncing it, I'm still like this, mainly because I'm drunk, but I'm still like that. And also the restraining order that I have against 15 women in the stadium at that particular time. That's also a problem. But enough about Lindsay Lohan. Winona Ryder. Two of my best friends, Lindsay Lohan, Winona Ryder. We always manage to pick something up that's nice.
That is nice. That is nice. Well, that's all the time we have this morning, Vodm.
I got up for that.
Yeah, you did, buddy. And the reading. We'll be finishing our play reading this afternoon. The Importance of Being Earnest, where you're the Reverend Charlesable.
Yes, and who are you again?
Lady Bracknell.
That's right.
Lady Bracknell.
The
so that'll be taking
Lady
place.
Bracknell on the ship, ladies and gentlemen.
At 11:30. Of course, coming up at 10, we have our Life at Sea, the captain, hotel manager, first officer, chief officer. Everybody will be up here talking about life at sea. 11, Susan, travel guide Susan, will be up here talking about our next 2 ports of call, Kodiak and Sitka. We've got stuff all over. So, well, good morning, Vodm, and I'll see everyone around the ship. Thanks for coming out. Thank you, Mark Newsome.
You're welcome.